All right, you guys, welcome to our Monday night team call. It's March 18th. So excited. I'm actually going to share my screen with you guys. I wanted to shout out a few people who are our top coaches this month so far. Top recruiter is myself. I've signed up 3 coaches this month so far. And we've got some top volume earners. So it's myself and Anna. We both had over 250 volume this month, or this week. I'm sorry, this week so far. And then we've got top life changers such as Brandy Browning, myself, and Shanice, who are all 3 at Success Club 6 right now, which means we've helped at least 3 people this month. And then we've got a few of you who are almost there. So we've got Jessica Sanders, who's sitting at 4, Natasha, who's sitting at 4, Ashley, Christian, Mandy, Samantha, Shanette, Olivia, Kim, Jernay, Jessica McCarthy, and Alexis, who are all at 2. You guys, I don't want to see all the people who are at 2 and 4. You have to help 1 to 2 more people this month, which is totally doable. I don't want any of you sitting at 4 or sitting at 2. And if you're not on this board, if your name is nowhere near this board, I want your name to be on it. I want you to help at least 3 people change their lives. Last month, we changed like 60-something lives. This month, it's March, you guys. Like, summer is right around the corner. We can help people. You can help as many people as you want, but I want you to aim for at least 3 to 5. I'm pushing to hit Success Club 10. Because that's always my goal. By tonight, I actually have a few people who are supposed to be signing up tonight. And then I know a few people on that board already told me that they're pushing for Success Club 5 as well. And with the launch of Ultimate Portion Picks, can be done. Okay. I wanted to shout out some rising stars. So some of these ladies who are brand new to our team or newer to our team who have at least helped 1 person. Jernay, Samantha, Jessica, and I forgot. I was like, oh, I don't need their names on here because I'm going to remember it. Shanette. I was like, who is that? Shanette. All helped at least 1 person. These were newer coaches on our team. Some of them maybe have been only coaching for less than a month. I know a few of these girls signed up in March. Some of them signed up last month. Maybe signed up in January. But they're newer to our team, and they are already helping people, which is amazing. We signed up 4 coaches within the last 7 days. Next week, you guys, I want that number to double. So I want to at least have some of you signing up coaches, which I just jumped off of an Emerald call, and everyone on that call said that they were going to hit Emerald by Wednesday. So that means we have like 6 or 7 girls on that call. So if they're signing up 2 coaches, then that means we're going to help at least like 14 people sign up and join our team. So that is what I want. I want to see that because I know it's doable. I believe in you guys, and I know it's possible. And if you're already an Emerald, maybe you weren't on that call, then add 2 more people to your team. Again, doable. We have a coach sneak peek this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time, and we have a new coach call on Saturday. So anyone that signs up on Wednesday, like if you have friends and family that sign up on Wednesday, they can join our new coach call on Saturday, just so that we kick off, get them kicked off right. We go over everything just from how to build a business, how it all works, Success Club, all the fun stuff. As new coaches, we go over all of that on that call. Just a little, I posted this on our team page, but just so you guys can kind of see how the week goes. We have Jess that's talking on our team tonight, which I'll introduce in a few minutes. I will be going live in the team page tomorrow, just sharing a few things that I learned at this conference this past weekend. Coach sneak peek on Wednesday. Payday and Recognition Days on Thursday. We're going to do a live workout on Saturday morning for anyone that wants to join. I know some people work out earlier than 7:30 a.m., but some of us will be on at 7:30 to work out together and then following our new coach call. And then Sunday, not a lot, only a few of us, I'll say a lot of us, leave for our cruise. Well, a lot of Beachbody coaches leave for our cruise on Sunday. So make sure that you're following me. Make sure you're following Shelby Elmer, who is also coming on the trip. Jess obviously will be there too, which I'm so excited for. I get to hug her and squeeze her in person. but we'll all be there. So go follow us. Go watch us on this trip, you guys. Not so that you get jealous or anything, but so that you can see what these trips are all about and so that you can say, okay, I'm going to be there next year. I know Kim got invited this year. She's like literally about to pop out a baby. So she obviously can't go on a cruise. And a few of our other girls got invited to go this year, but for whatever reason couldn't make it. I want as many coaches on next year's trip as humanly possible from Florida Fit, because I know that these trips are amazing. I know that they're life-changing, and I want you guys there with me, because who wouldn't want to go to Punta Cana with me, right? I mean, I like Punta Cana, so if you like Punta Cana, if you've never been there, you should join me. March 18th, today, Ultimate Portion Fix launched for all of Beachbody clients, coaches, anyone that wants to join with Ultimate Portion Fix can purchase it today. Coach Summit, if you haven't gotten your Coach Summit ticket, it is in July, July 14th, I believe. I may have made up that date. It could not be July 14th. It's in July sometime. Go to CoachSummit.com. Go look it up. Buy your tickets, you guys. If you don't have anyone to room with, or you're like, well, I don't know who to room with. I don't know. I've never been to Summit. Reach out to me. We can find you some roommates. And that Success Club trip I was just talking about in Punta Cana, go to that and register to get on the wait list if you want to possibly get invited to go on that trip. All right, so tonight's team call, I'm super excited about it. My girl, Jess, look how cute she is going to be talking to you guys. This is my success partner. I'm like acting like you're here. This is my success partner. She is incredible, you guys. My success partner just means that we work a lot together one-on-one. She's not necessarily in like our direct downline, but she's part of our bigger team that we are a part of, right? And we set big goals together, and we push each other, and we, hold one another accountable and kind of call each other out on our BS, right? But she's an amazing leader. She's an amazing friend. She is a lifetime 15-star diamond, which is incredible. Meaning she helped her team create 15 girls hit diamond underneath her, that's really hard, you guys. And she did it. She's a 2019 elite coach. I think you've hit more than 36 months in Success Club. I don't know why I just put 36 months. It's way more than that because she's been coaching for longer than that. But she's hit Success Club. She's a Success Club All-Star Legend, which means she's hit it for at least 2 years, which she's hit it for more than that because she's been coaching for more than that. And she's the founder of the Fearless Empire. That's her team name. So she's going to talk to you guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to mute myself. If you have questions, just post them in the chat below. But y'all, her story is amazing, so I promise you want to listen to this, okay? So, Jess, take it away.
Thanks, Jess. Honestly, you guys, this is fun because it feels like we're just all family here. Truly, your coach, Miss Jessie Burr, has been such a amazing light for me on my journey, just personally, and then as a coach too. Jessie's one of those coaches that, obviously you can tell because of her amazing success and how great she does every month, but she works really, really hard. And that's somebody that I respect. It's not, by the way, sorry about my weird lighting. Oh my gosh, Isaiah just put his head in my lap. My son is supposed to be sleeping and he just put his head in my lap and it scared me. But anyway, I am just so grateful for the partnership and the friendship that I have with her. And so if you guys don't have a success partner, make sure that you get one. And don't let it be your upline, and don't let it be somebody in your direct, one of your PS coaches. Let it be somebody that, is shooting for the same goals as you. When Jessie and I partnered up, we were going for elite. And we were like, let's do this, and I truly believe through what I'm going to tell you all about, and a lot of personal stuff tonight, so bear with me. But I've just kind of decided that I'm okay with letting my mess be my message. And if it helps anybody, especially as a coach, I do believe in seasons of harvest and I believe in seasons of desert. And I think that no matter what job avenue you're in, whatever career you're in, you're going to see both, because that's just how life is, And so, yeah, when Jessie and I actually became coaches around the same time, I basically jumped all in after going to a Super Saturday as a customer. And I went, I wanted to do a group workout, and I went as a coach, or sorry, as a customer. And I remember watching Lindsay speak, and I decided that this could possibly be the right path for me. And so I prayed over it, and I was a worship director at the time, and I just really wanted to spend some more time home with my son, who was only 1 at the time. He's now 5, almost 6. But at the time, I just wanted to be home with him more. And I didn't want to stop working. I actually really enjoyed working, but I wanted to be home more. I wanted him to be my number one ministry. And so I prayed for an opportunity. I've never been like a super fit queen. You know what I mean? Like, I just remember thinking that if I have to watch what I eat and work out every day, I might as well get paid for it. And so I was like, you know what? This could be the answer. And so I decided, and I really encourage every single one of you, no matter where you are at with your coach journey, I decided to go all in, and from day one. And no matter where you're at, I really encourage you, when we get done with this call, can you go back to the room, please? Guys, 1 sec. I'm so sorry. Parenting, single mom. We'll get there. But 1 second. Okay. Bribery. Parenting 101. Anyway, no, I just, it was just one of those things where I just went all in. And I really encourage you to do that, because you never really know what could be, right? So no matter what happens, no matter where you are at when you got on this call, maybe you're a brand new coach, or maybe you've been coaching for 4 years. I just encourage you at this point. We're still in the beginning of 2019, really. We still have the main majority of the year left. And so I just really encourage you guys to just take it captive, and go all in. I know that Jesse and I are committed to actually working harder than we've probably ever worked before. And we're just at a point where we really, really have some major goals, income-wise and with our leadership. And so we're just going all in for it. And so I really did that from day one. And then I've had some ups and downs in between. But basically, in 24 days, I became a diamond coach, and it sounds like it was really fast. And it was one of those things where the first 10 people I talked to all said no. Do you guys hear no's like on a daily basis, right? Yeah, that still happens to us every single day. We get told no a lot. And all the people, I sat 10 people down individually, and I remember like telling them about this incredible opportunity. And I was like, they're going to join me, and we're going to build this empire, and it's going to be amazing. And none of them joined me. Like, to this day, I honestly don't think any of them joined me. I can't think of one person that did, but the right people did. And I'm so glad that I didn't just throw in the towel and go, well, I tried. I'm so glad that I stayed focused on this opportunity in front of me, and I didn't let pride get in the way of, well, what are people going to think? Who cares? At the end of the day, if this is the right path for you, it's going to come together. And so I went on, and I ended up, going, it was like 2-star in 6 months, and 7-star in 9 months, and 10-star in a year, and then 15-star diamond in 23 months. And it sounds like it just went like this, but again, I failed a lot. There was lots of ups and downs. When you're growing that fast, you make a lot of mistakes, and you don't even know that you're making mistakes sometimes. So I learned a lot the hard way, and now I get to fail forward, through that, to be able to help my team members. Because Jesse and I talk a lot about how we didn't really have any training when we first started, and that's why training is such a blessing that we can give to our coaches. So just to put that in there too, guys, if you are not taking advantage of the training that Jesse has, do it. It's such a blessing. I mean, I just wish so bad that we had that. And so it's such a great thing that you guys have those tools. So anyway, it just, I say all this because I went 15-star in 2016. In 2017, I bought my dream home. It wasn't like uber fancy or anything, but to me, it was like, it was right across the street from this awesome elementary school. It was brand new construction. It was in the cul-de-sac. It was just what my little American dream was, right? To raise a family. So I was really excited about that. And that was in January 2017. In February 2017, I had my daughter, Kira. So I was a new mom again. And my business was somewhat thriving. Soon after that, so talk about life changes, right? Any of you guys, mamas? So life changes, right? I know, Kim, you're about to have a baby. You go, mama. By the way, you can hit SC 10 plus, even the month that you give birth, okay? It can happen. And so just prepare, right? But I basically started to go through all these life changes, and that was in 2016. Beachbody came out with Beachbody On Demand. And that was really hard for some coaches that had a hard time with change. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm so incredibly thankful for Beachbody On Demand. Can you imagine us trying to sell DVDs at this point? That would be weird. And so what I love about Beachbody is that they're always kind of a step ahead of the game, but there's always growing pains and learning curves with that. And so at first we didn't quite get our same launch volume that we used to get when we would have launches. And I saw coaches quit that were making over $1,000 a week on my team. I had Star Diamonds quit. I had Diamonds quit. I had people that just lost, their belief in kind of where the future of Beachbody was going, and they went to other MLMs. We had this big, I don't know if you guys remember, and I won't name any of them, but there was a bunch of MLMs that kind of popped up all at once, and then they kind of fizzled out. Well, I had coaches go to different MLMs, and I loved them as sisters, and it doesn't change the way I feel about them in that way. But I will say this. What I learned from watching that happen is that I'm so thankful that I stayed put, because not one of those coaches is still with the other company that they jumped ship for. They've they've been in 2 or 3 different ones. And if I learned anything, it's prosper where you are planted. And that's going to be a common theme throughout my story tonight of just staying focused when things didn't quite feel right, when I was going through growing pains in all sorts of ways. But prosper where you're planted, because there's so, and like I said, in anything, there's seasons of harvest and desert. And I have watched Beachbody in my life. Yep, my income went down. I experienced some of that, and I've also seen it come back up. And it's been such a blessing overall. But that was a tough time for me. If you can imagine the bonds and sisterhood, and I know Jesse's experienced some of this too. When you have really people that are just really close to you, and you have this sisterhood, it doesn't mean you can't be friends with people that don't coach anymore. It just means that relationship and that sisterhood of working together every single day is different. And it was hard, and it was painful. And so that happened in 2017 too, right after I had Kira. So I was adjusting to 2 kids and all this stuff. And then I had this mass, exodus is kind of what I would call it, of people that I was building our team together. I didn't name my team the Fearless Empire. I had a group of coaches that came up with our team name together. It was something that I had kind of done since day one, is I had these bonds, and those founding coaches that I had started with jumped ship, and it was hard. And so a couple months went by, and then honestly, in October 2017, I think you could say, if you looked at it from the outside, and I don't feel this way now, but you would kind of think that I lost everything. And this is really personal, but it's all good. We can chat. I basically like to keep a lot of personal information out, even though this is really personal too. There's a lot more. But I'm going to share some stuff with you that I am okay sharing. I feel like it's important to tell. I think it can help a lot of other women and a lot of other people in just any kind of situation where they're experiencing adversity. But I basically discovered at that time that my husband of 10 years had a whole other identity. He had another name, another birth date. I mean, it was remember, I was a worship leader. I met my husband at church. He auditioned to play guitar for me. I mean, this was mind blowing. And when all of this kind of came out, with details that I don't need to discuss, but when all of this came out, I found myself with a restraining order fighting for my kids, in and out of court every other month, if not every month at times, and really just experiencing trauma in like a different way than I ever had. I started my business with Beachbody so I could be home more. I wanted to be a full-time mom with a full-time income. And I was suddenly fighting to be able to be that mom. I'd been basically single mom in it ever since Isaiah was a baby. And all of a sudden I was being told that I could possibly be doing this part-time, and that just was not okay in any way, shape or form. And I was being told that I was going to possibly have to co-parent with somebody that I was completely afraid of. There's other details in that, but if you can imagine, it was, you really don't know that person anymore. And then, like I said, there was a restraining order involved. It got really intense. And I just remember going through this period of time in my business where I found myself like dealing with this trauma. And I just remember going to leadership. And I went to leadership at the beginning of November, and I had this restraining order. And I remember another coach saying to me, "Are you going to go?" And I was like, yeah, like I need that family. My coaching community is something that has really, really, that God has used in my life to really, really lift me up. I know that I need this. And my business was more important to me than ever, because my business was my ticket to not being the single mom that had to work 3 jobs outside the home, that I wanted to be able to volunteer in my son's preschool class. I wanted to be able to be there and still be able to create my own hours and do all that. And so even though at this time, like my income was super, it had gone down very far, I was not willing to give up on it. I wasn't willing to throw in the towel. I wasn't willing to go, well, I'm no longer a 15-star diamond coach, so what's the point? And I've seen people, honestly, guys, I've seen people quit coaching for a lot less. I've seen people quit coaching over things that just seem like, what? And, pride issues, different stuff like that. And I had to get to a point where I just couldn't have any pride. Their pride just had to be out the door. It was about being able to provide for my kids. And of course I had Jesse there helping me be accountable every day when I did not want to get up, when I didn't want to show up, when I felt like I had lost 22 pounds in the Shift Shop test group that summer before, and all of a sudden I started to see some of that weight creep back on, and that was devastating. But something that I learned about my business at that time is that no matter what I was doing, whether I was in court or out of court or writing up, just different things for my attorney or, doing all of these things for that entire situation, I did not have a disadvantage on time. Yep, maybe not everybody was doing what I was doing at that time, although let's get real, I'm not the only person that has experienced some kind of trauma or adversity, right? But I remember thinking to myself, it doesn't take talent to show up. It doesn't take talent. So I remember watching Melanie Mitro at Summit a couple summers ago, and I remember her saying, I didn't feel like I had something super special about me. I just outworked the competition. And I thought to myself, my life doesn't seem super special right now, but I don't have a disadvantage on time. We all have 24 hours in a day. And at the end of the day, I can ask myself, would I hire myself or would I fire myself with what I had? What I could give in all reality wasn't necessarily what I used to be able to give when I was shooting for 15-star diamond, right? But it was enough for me to hit SC10 or plus every single month through all of life's storms. I was still able to invite daily. I was able to show up because this was my job. This was my job and this was my ticket. And so I really encourage you guys, no matter what season of life you're going through or if you're adjusting, I see coaches like, I took a break, that's really not a good idea. From a business standpoint, I'm just going to be really honest with you. If you guys are thinking of, throwing in the towel for a month and not posting, and I'm even in this, Jesse's in this thread too, but I try to ignore it. There's a cruise thread and people are talking about how they're going to completely unplug on the cruise. And I look at this cruise with Beachbody as, time, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to make work an idol. That's not good either. Right. But I also look at this amazing gift that we have to come together as Beachbody coaches and to be able to share about our community, especially with sneak peeks that you're doing and people understanding that there's an opportunity here. And so anyway, I really strongly encourage you that no matter what you go through, even just once a day, show up. Even just once a day, at least share a little bit about what you're doing. I didn't share about my situation at that time. Even though I talked about maybe going through a hard time, I didn't share all the details of my life at that time because there was no healing that had taken place and the story wasn't quite where it needed to be for me to feel, that I had the discernment to be able to share. And I waited to share, by the way, until I knew that God was telling me that this was my testimony and I could share this. So even through that, I wasn't fake by choosing joy. I wasn't fake by deciding to show up and to do my workouts and, smile through the pain. Like, that was real. Like, I had days where I cried and I had days where I knew that I was meant for more than this and that I was going to get through it. And so that coaching community really, really helped raise me up to be able to continue to keep going. So then, like, to get real, if I haven't yet, I, went from, I'm just totally honest because I just have nothing else to hide, right? No, but I just went from making six figures, multiple six figures a year to like going down to like struggling to pay the mortgage of this dream home that I had, right? It was hard. I owed $100,000 and I'm, in attorney fees. It was like insane. And you know what? I would do it 10 times over for my kids, right? But it was really difficult. And I just remember thinking, I got to keep going. I got to keep pressing on. The only way you for sure fail is if you quit. That's the only way you fail. So if you can keep on doing the steps every single day, I knew that it would continue to be a compound effect. And I had built, some stability in my business, right? So even though people had left, it's not like I lost my entire team. I still had coaches there and I was still hitting SC 10 plus every month. So I was still bringing new people in, not like I needed to recruit, before, but it was one of those things where I was still doing my job. So I found out as I went to mediation, I found out that there was debt that I didn't even know existed. There was debt that just was there, and I basically ended up taking on a lot of that debt, number one, because I made 90% or 85% of our income, and number two, because I basically traded that for parenting time. I wanted more parenting time, and I was willing to do anything for it. And I say that because there's that will fit into another detail a little bit later when it has to do with business. But then in April, so if we're just kind of going around the year last year, in April, I found out that I needed to get a double mastectomy and reconstruction surgery. So I did some genetic testing while I was still on my old health insurance, and I recognized that I had the same genes as my mom did, who passed away of breast cancer, and I needed to get that done sooner than later so that I could get it fully covered. And so then I became a mom of a 1-year-old who turned 1, right, February 2018, and still needed mommy to hold her a lot. And I had to get a double mastectomy where I wasn't supposed to lift her for like 6 weeks. And I say supposed to because I did after 4 because it was like torturous. But it was one of those things where To Be Mindset came out in May, on May 9th. No, May 2nd. My surgery was on May 9th. And so I had prepared ahead of time, knowing that launch was coming up. So I was breadcrumbing, I was talking about it. I had tried the program, so I was able to share about that a little bit. And from like when May hit, I basically hit SC 54 that month. And it was the same month on May 9th that I had my major surgery. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like this system is not broken. I can do this. And it was one of those things too, where it also taught me that, take advantage of launches, right? Because you definitely can do some amazing things. And I see a lot of coaches don't take advantage of them. I see a lot of coaches not really preparing right for them. And I really don't know why, because they are incredible. And so I just went all out for it. And basically most of those people that I signed up happened in 1 week, because after my surgery, I wasn't sitting around. I mean, I was on painkillers, so I wasn't really in the right mind to do that. But talk about being humbled. I went from, running my own business, being a 15-star diamond coach, to being like, I could barely pay my mortgage. I couldn't lift my daughter for 4 weeks. I had to ask neighbors to help me, like bathe my kids, to drive me around. And all of this time, I'm still trying to run my business and single mom it. And there was lots of times when I just like sat in my car and screamed, without kids in my car. But I screamed, like I would just, my affirmations went from like, I'm a great coach, like I'm a good mom, to like just screaming, God, I trust you, because I literally had to scream it to believe it at times. And I'll be honest about that. I have really strong faith, but it was at a point where I had to like affirm it, because I was pretty much at the end of my rope. And then Summit came in June, and at Summit, my divorce was finalized, which was also, interesting. And I decided to choose joy through that, but it was also difficult. I mean, I think there's always emotion that goes into that, especially because, I'm going to be honest, I don't think any of us are the perfect wives. I think there's only girls on this call, so I don't think any of us are the perfect spouse. But with that said, I mean, I was loyal, I was faithful, and I prayed over my marriage daily. And I can, say that. So yeah, it wasn't something that I ever really imagined, and so that happened in June. And then in July, I had another bomb dropped on me, and I found out from my son that there was another little girl at daddy's when he would go see daddy. At some point, the restraining order got lifted with certain things that the judge had put in place. And so eventually he could have the kids at his place. And there was another little girl there, and I hired a private investigator and found out that basically the main reason that I know of that he had another name and identity is because he had a whole other family while we were married, other kids, another woman that knew him by his other name, all of those things. And so I was going to, I figured out that those finances, that debt that I didn't understand, like where that came from, it was basically, I was taking on this debt that basically had gone to pay for another family. And so when I discovered that, I realized that the right thing to do was to reopen the court case. And so I was going to reopen it on grounds of fraud on the court, fraud on my finances, all of those things. And I truly believe that is the right thing to do. And so he basically sat me down, my former spouse sat me down and just said, what do you want? And I had been praying. I felt like I was supposed to move to Florida. That might sound really weird, but my dad lives in Florida. And I felt like, I think I'm supposed to do this. But I was like, even though I felt like I was sinking, I was not ready to give up the home that I had, my community. I have a lot of coaches in Minnesota. I just really, really had a really hard time with that. And I finally just said, okay, God, if I'm supposed to move to Florida, I can't. Like I literally was told about 12 months ago from this month that I would never be able to move states. So if I was going to have to move, it was going to have to be my former spouse's idea, and he was going to have to basically approve that, and then the court would be okay with it. So he sat me down and just, said, I don't want to go back to court. Yes, it's all true. What do you want? And I just said, I just want my kids. I feel like there's something wrong there mentally, and I just don't feel like you're equipped to be a parent that can put kids first. And yeah, I want my kids. And he said, okay, why don't you move to Florida? You want to go to Florida, don't you? Why don't you move to Florida? And then there was other things that, were involved in that were like big no's for me. However, I knew in that moment that I was going to be in Florida. And I knew that God was telling me that that's exactly what was going to happen, because I had put out a prayer fleece and I had asked him to let it be his suggestion if I was supposed to move. So a couple days later, I went down to Florida. And I enrolled my son in school out of faith, and still didn't have an agreement. And by the end of the week that I was there, I had papers signed and I was moving to Florida. And so God just completely 100% came through. And I was going to not have to part-time parent. I was going to get to be a full-time mom, which is extremely exhausting, but exactly what I wanted. And I do have childcare by choice, by the way, which is so nice. But I get to be the one that wakes up with them every day, that helps them when they're sick. And I get to be the one that puts them to bed, and I get to be mommy. I get to be mommy all the time. And not that I wouldn't be mommy otherwise, because I would, but it's just such a blessing to be able to be there. And so all of this kind of settled in August. And in October, I went back to leadership. And I was at leadership, and my mentor, one of my mentors, Lindsay, said to me, so where are you at for elite? You're going for elite. And, Jesse and I had started off the year, we were like, okay, we're going to go for this. We're going to do this. But honestly, it kind of felt like it just kept slipping through my fingers a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I was like, I don't know. And it was the first time I actually really started to doubt, I think, in my business. And she said to me, well, how many points do you have? And we looked it up, and I said, okay, I'm going for it, because she was going for it. And so was another girl in the car that had actually less points than I did, and I didn't even have that many points on the board. And so I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it, right? I got to go for it. And so we all know that elite doesn't happen without your team. And so I went back to my team and just said, hey guys, do you want to do this? And they said yes. And I said, okay, then I'm believing it's going to happen. And in my mind, we were already an elite team. And so October, the rest of October was pretty hard. I didn't get a lot of points, and I definitely didn't have the diamonds. And then November hit, and I had some more points happen. And at the end of November, it was like the 20th, around there in November, I did a sneak peek. And I signed up 2 business coaches from that sneak peek, not 50, not 1 million, 2. And out of those 2 coaches, one of those coaches on December 20th went diamond, as well as another coach. And on December 31st at like 5 p.m., I just remember we locked in exactly, not 1 point more, exactly 105 elite points. And we became a 2019 elite team. And I still don't fully understand it, because it feels like we put an entire year-long push into like 2 months. And I know that's not true, because I still showed up for my business every day. I did. But it just felt like, it felt that way. It just felt like this big push all at the end. And I really don't recommend that, by the way. It was really stressful. But it was one of those things too that, I'm going to be honest, it felt better than 15 star. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not where I'm at, or where I was at financially still. And yep, I still have a major, major aggressive plan to pay off debt, because I still have a lot of debt. And yep, there was a point in my business where I was making more money than I'd ever had before. And I was completely debt free, and I was very bold about it because I was excited. And I'm going to be bold about saying I'm not there, but I'm going to get back there. And I believe in this opportunity 100%. And that push just showed me that, and my team, that we are capable, and nothing has to, no matter what we go through individually or as a team through this coaching business, it doesn't have to stop you. I missed elite by like 4 points and the diamonds in 2017. And it was my first year not being elite. And it was really, my first full year in the business not being elite. And it was just like, it was hard to like feel like I kind of went backwards in some way. But what I realized is that title didn't define me, and it shouldn't, by the way. That title shouldn't define any of us. But what an amazing thing to go for. And I encourage all of you guys, if you're at a certain rank and you want to get to another rank, or you want to go for elite or premier or whatever it is, what I realized in pushing for this is that the only thing that I sought to lose was not hitting it. But if I pushed for it, would my income probably increase? Yep. Would my business maybe get bigger? Yeah. And so not going for it, even though it didn't make sense at the time, I could have easily been like, well, it's October and I don't have the diamonds. And then the beginning of November, I could have been like, well, I still don't have the diamonds and I don't have a lot of points. So whatever, And instead I just went, okay, we're an elite team. And it was just a mindset. And it wasn't because I had some kind of supernatural, like mindset. It was just a decision. It was just a choice. Just like when I was going through a really hard time, it was a choice to get up, and I wasn't perfect at it. And Jesse knows this, but it was a choice. There was a lot of days where I made the choice to get out of bed and to invite. And I made the choice to work out when all I saw was stress weight creeping on. That was annoying. But I knew that if I didn't work out, I was even worse off, and then I wouldn't be genuine in what I was helping my challengers do. So it just didn't make it an option. And so I just encourage you that no matter what you go through in this business, maybe you're going through a hardship right now. Here's the deal. I hope none of you experience anything like that. Maybe you already have. But if you haven't, I hope you never experience anything like that. And if you have, I hope you never do again. However, I do know that even if you do, because I don't believe that we are promised in this life that we won't go through some kind of tribulation at some point, no matter however great of a person you are, doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not or whatever you believe. I believe that sometimes things just happen in life that isn't our fault. It's not something we ask for. It just happens. But we do get to choose what we do with it. And if anything, going through that has helped me show up for my business in a different way and help me coach in a different way because of the discipline that came with pushing through. And I will say this, and then I'll let you guys go because I know it's getting kind of late, but I will say this is that Elite didn't just happen because I prayed about it and because I, was like hoping that my team would get there. And I will say that I do believe prayer was a big part of it. But I don't believe that you sit on your couch and you just pray for $1 million, right? I believe you reap what you sow. And so I stayed up later, like I'm East Coast. And so I did calls at like 11 p.m. my time to help coaches that were on Pacific time at like 8 p.m. their time that couldn't do it before then. And sometimes I got up early. I remember meeting with the coach at like 6 a.m. my time because she could only meet at like 5 a.m. her time before work or whatever. And I knew that doing those one-on-ones, I knew that it was a season of sacrifice. I knew that it wasn't always going to be this season of push, although it is something that you need to continue to show up for. It wasn't always going to be this hard or this much of a push. And so when you're going through those goals, when you're going for those goals, know that there's going to be seasons of sacrifice and go for them knowing that that's not necessarily your new normal. Jesse and I pushed really, really hard last month and I almost felt like a little burnt out. I'm going to be honest. Okay. We pushed really, really hard and it was so worth it. But I also knew that if I kept up that pace constantly, I'm not saying that I'm not going to hustle, but if I kept up that pace as my normal of like sacrificing family time, which I don't really recommend, but there's going to be moments of sacrifice. So sacrificing some family time or sacrificing sleep, different stuff like that. I knew that if that was like my new normal to get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep, sometimes probably not going to be healthy for me, right? But for a moment or a season, even a month, I can do it. I can do it. And I can get right back on track and being healthy in the long run too. So anyway, I hope that helps you. My talk tonight was kind of about being fearless in your faith and being fearless in your belief. And so I hope that helps you no matter what you go through to just push through because it's worth it. And every single one of you is capable. I'm capable. Jesse's capable. You guys, we're all capable, right? And it's not about being fearless. If you've got fears, it's not about being fearless and just in general. It's about being fearless with your actions and taking that time captive and going for it. Cool. Do you guys have any questions for me at all?
Thanks so much, Jess. You're amazing. If anyone have questions, you guys, y'all, she went through so much shit. Excuse my language. But like for real, like she was saying, I see so many people that are like, oh, I've got this and I've got this and I've got this. And like Jess's story is just always in the back of my mind because she persevered through the shit. Like she did. And she came out on top and like, I've been through shit and everyone on this call has probably been through something. Right. And so what I love is that no matter what, she remembered why she started. She remembered her really strong why, which was her kids. And she wasn't willing to give up on them. right? She wasn't willing to give up on that why just because the shit was happening. So just keep in mind, like, you are going to go through ups and downs. You're going to go through seasons, like she just said, that are going to be hard. Life is going to throw things your way when you're like feeling like you're on top of the world. And then you're like, oh, well, this is in the way and this is in the way of this goal or whatever. If you really want something, you're going to find a way, right? Or you're going to find an excuse. And it just goes to show, like, what can happen when you don't find the excuse and you find the way to make those goals and those dreams of yours happen. So thank you so much, first of all, because I know, like, sharing the shit is not always fun, and sharing, like, your heart like that is brave. So I just wanted to say thank you for jumping on our call. But does anyone have questions for Jess? Any questions? No?
I know it's kind of like a motivational talk, but feel free to ask if you have any. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. You're amazing.
And you guys have such a great team. You have such a great team with such a good leader. I would absolutely love to see your team be an elite team this year, guys. Is that something that you guys Success Club, something that you guys are really going for every month and working towards? Yes.
Say yes or no. Everyone's like, they're all like, oh gosh, you're putting us on the spot.
I know, I'm sorry. I just want to remind you guys that, like, I know that sometimes we look at these goals and we make them so much harder than they really are. And I'm not going to say that, like, Success Club is easy. I won't say that, because that's not necessarily the case, but I'm not going to say that it's hard. Because I think that if you have the mindset of, like, this is difficult, then it's difficult. But if you're like, you know what, I'm not only going to sign up 3 people, I'm going to sign up 5 people, or I'm going to sign up 10 people, Last month I was going for SC 50 and I ended at, SC 42, not mad about it. It's one of those things where I know that had I not challenged myself to do that, I probably would have been like, well, I hit SC 10 and I'm good. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can settle. And so I just encourage you guys to make a goal that's a little bit bigger than where you feel like you really want to be, because that's what's going to challenge you to go a little bit bigger as well. And every single one of you is equipped and has the ability to help 3 people every month. It's not just about a number. It's not about a number of Success Club. It's just that those are the lives of the people that it represents, right? So it's about, like, thinking in my head, okay, I have 30 days. I have 30 days to help 3 people. I can do that. If I show up every day, I can help 3 people. And then it's fun, because then you get to, like, go with it and go, oh my gosh, I helped 3 people. Now let's, help this many, and let's help this many. And oh my gosh, like, this is awesome. And then you start to see those paychecks to help your family, which is really your number 1 ministry, right? So, like, you start to see the way that it's affecting you to be able to pay off debt, or to be able to contribute more, to be able to maybe even get rid of a job that you're not, fond of or want to work less hours of. I loved my job, by the way, but I really felt called to be home. That's not everybody's situation, but just remember, it starts out with 3 people, and those 3 people's lives change, and then you get to help more people, and it's just this compound effect. So awesome. Well, I really strongly encourage you guys to go for it. And yes, you are capable. And thank you for having me. And if you guys have any questions for me that you think of, let me know for sure.
Yeah, just send them my way, because me and Jess talk every day. So.
Yes, we do. This is like the longest we've gone without talking, because she was at a conference.
We talked on Saturday for, like.
That's true, we did. But it just felt like weird that we didn't talk, Sunday, and we still. Okay, we missed one day. It felt weird.
So if you have questions for her, you guys, or you think of something, first of all, you should go follow her and go show her some love. Go shout her out, like, thanking her for taking the time out. Like you saw, guys, she has kids that she's got to take care of. So she took the time out of her family's life, right? And her own life to share this with you guys. So go shout her out on Instagram stories. I'm actually going to take a picture real quick before I forget. Everyone smile, cheese. Okay. Y'all go shout her out just to, thank her, because again, she took her time out to share with you guys. But if y'all have any questions for her, just let me know. Thanks for being on tonight. I appreciate all of you being on. Next week, we do not have a team call because we will be in the Bahamas, so we will not be doing a team call. But the next one will be on April 1st, so we won't physically see you guys until, well, not physically, virtually see you guys until then. But I'll be going live in our team page. We'll be sharing stuff throughout. So go follow Jess. It's Jess. What is it on your Instagram?
Jessica.choosejoy.
Yes.
You
can't miss her. She's got curly hair, okay? You'll see her from anywhere. Y'all should go follow her. Go tag her in your Instagram stories. Go show her some love, but also go follow her because we're going to be like sharing all kinds of fun stuff from our trip, so you won't want to miss it. All right, guys. So thank you for getting on.